apartment is. I pray for this apartment 5 million per year in Lekki. Meanwhile, you are living with altars of darkness, demonic seed, darkness hanging over everywhere. Since you started living there, that's how your life was pegged. Could not move further. Are you hearing what I'm saying? There are seeds of darkness that can hang over an apartment you rented on. That's our place at the White House. Before they build that thing there, when they demolish it, you can ask the people that is there. The charms that we found out at those small shops that is there, the amount of charms that is buried there with which they sell. Say after me, from today, I enter that market with the revelation of ye are gods. You are saying, if you know there are worse things that has happened, it's just that God know that you are a sense, you operate by your senses. So he didn't let you to know the kind of things you have confronted that is far stronger. You have confronted the person that gave that man the sacrifice and defeated the person. You are not with me. Sacrifice, you have defeated that one. Is it the one that is now giving sacrifice that is suddenly stronger than the one that gave the sacrifice? You cannot pray like this and be afraid of Satan. Let it stay in your heart. Let it enter inside of your heart. Except it has not entered your heart. Satan is more afraid of you than you are afraid of him. He wants you to be afraid of him, but the day you find out that him too is afraid of you, two people they are checking themselves out. Who will become afraid first? Once he notices you are afraid, he say, yeah, he will catch you. Can I tell you something? Once you start damaging things for Satan, the confidence will come. You even do more. Is that not so? You are going to go back after today and ask God, show me one damage that I will cause to Satan. Are you seeing it? Or should I store this power and not use it for anything? Show me one damage. So after me, show me one damage. You need to cause Satan damage. The truth is that some of you, God is already directing you. In your dream, you see where you are destroying your dream. I think you have even done something like that before. Did you die? If we are telling you things, you think it's long story. Many of us here have collected other things until the people doing the sacrifice left the God. Your gods should answer for themselves. They left the gods. Instead of the God to answer for themselves, they start fighting for the gods. That means your God is not powerful. If your God is powerful, allow him to answer for himself. But as usual, they are powerless power. As usual, they didn't create heaven and earth. They are servant spirits. As usual. As usual, they just motivate people to act for them. Them themselves can't move. God is able to move by himself. We are in verse 12 now. And he said unto them, remember that they said that the devils are subject to us in your name. Then let's read verse 18 together. 1, 2, ready, go. So Jesus is trying to tell them that the raw power they saw on the field is a proof that Satan has been displaced. Are you following me now? Consistency in deliverance and dealing of Satan is hinged upon a displacement reaction in the heavenly places. Are you following me now? Let me explain further. Every believer, you can cast out devil, but if you want to come to the point where it doesn't matter the name of the person, following me, doesn't matter the name, because if you tell us to cast out devil, very soon you will notice that some of us can do it and some cannot do it. Is that not true? But how can you send 70 and all is having the same result? You cannot tell me that all have the same measure of faith. You cannot tell me that all have the same level of maturity. You cannot tell me that all, are you with me? But all had the same result. Why? Because there is already a displacement reaction in the heavenly places. Are you following me now? That's why everybody is operating under the same canopy. The cloud of glory is resting. The darkness that is hanging over the territory and hanging over the people has been displaced. That's what happens when we pray. It does not mean, when we pray like this, it does not mean that the healings, we will not still pray for the sick. It does not mean that we will not go and win souls. It does not mean that we will not cast out devil. It does not mean that we will not deal with situations, but it means that we have cracked the heaven open, and each and every one of us can operate the same thing. Are you following me now? Lift up your hands, pray in the next 1 minute and say, let Satan and principalities be displaced over the atmosphere of my life and destiny. Let powers, the atmosphere of your destiny, your house. Poverty is hanging like a cloud over your family, brother. It's not about your hard work. You are working hard. If you block him here, he comes from here. You block him here, he comes from here. It's a path. You need to displace them from all. Then when you come to the ground, are you with me? What they do, they are the same number. No matter what they do. In fact, the number of the people in the congregation was reducing. He's wondering what is happening. He's teaching his best. He's trying his best. He studies more. He went for Bible training, went to Bible school, went to everything, came back, it became worse. And that thing continued until that pastor could no more survive in that place. He left, they brought another pastor. When the pastor came, what he did is he began to pray, began to pray, began to pray, began to pray. Until one day, God showed him somewhere around the roof of the building was a dark spirit hanging over. So are you getting what is happening? Pastor is heavily anointed. Once he stands on this pulpit of his ministry, it looks as if a dry atmosphere comes on you. You will toil and labor and then go without nothing. You go back home feeling the fire of the anointing, knowing that you did not dispense anything. Something is standing between you and the thing. Something is hanging on the atmosphere. Somebody, I displace you. Oh, they have the same result. It doesn't matter who stands on the pulpit. It doesn't matter what you are saying. I'm not just talking about ministry, I'm talking about where you are living. That apartment you rented, they asked you, said, do you know how much my apartment is? I pay for this apartment 5 million per year in Lekki. Meanwhile, you are living with all kinds of darkness. Demonic seed, darkness hanging over everywhere. Since you started living there, that's how your life was pegged. Could not move further. Are you hearing what I'm saying? There are seeds of darkness that can hang over an apartment you rented on. You and your wife cannot conceive inside that apartment. The darkness there, the layer of darkness does not allow anybody to conceive. It cannot allow you to conceive. It's a darkness, it's a layer. If you manage to conceive, it will be a miscarriage. Somebody, I displace you. You go outside to preach, things happen. You come back to your pulpit to minister, everywhere will be locked. You just manage to squeeze out something small. Every day you go back for something is sitting there. Something is sitting there. You need to move. Certainly, all principality and power sitting over my life and destiny and ministry, sitting over my family, sitting over my finances. Right now, I displace you by power. Pray that prayer. Pray. Pray that prayer. 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 P
fire.
And he said he came back with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject. Jesus said, because of this massive result, he said, I can see Satan fall like lightning. I can see Satan. He's falling like lightning out of your life. He's falling out of your life. He's falling out of your life. Listen to me. If I be a man of God, some of you here listening to me and the people following me online, in the next 1 year, you will achieve what nobody has done in your family. Come here, young man. Lift up your hands. Look at me. Let God show you mercy. Let God show you mercy. So after the whole atmosphere over my life, shift from darkness to light. Some of you, you are laboring, you are working hard, you are doing well, but you are laboring. We shift you.